Hello, thank you for being with me here today. My name is Irene Schultz, and I help people live a soul aligned life by tapping into wisdom from the Akashic Records, channeling information from guides, and using shamanic wisdom to help guide people towards their path of discovering their true authentic self and also their purpose. In this podcast, I will be sharing guidance that I receive, messages that come through, either my channeled automatic writing, also tapping into the Akashic Records live. And at times, I will be guided to do activations. I sometimes have light language or sound frequencies that come through I work with dragon energies, also just higher beings, angelic beings that want to transmit energies through me. And so I will be sharing this in this podcast. Today, I received a message this morning as I was journaling that I'm going to call Lost at Sea. And I will go ahead and share that message that came through. I'm going to read some of it, but then I'll also be kind of discussing some of the information, just unpack it for you. And so the message that came through was that many of us right now are feeling lost. The world that we have known is crumbling away from under our feet. And that could be a loss of friends, perhaps a loss of a partner, loss of a job, or even the physical loss of a family member. And these aspects of our lives that we have known and depended on for so long are essentially falling away. The winds of chaos are here, bringing with them a sense of instability and entropy. We are losing certain aspects of our lives that we believed brought us security and comfort. I've really noticed that for me personally, I've noticed that there have been friends over recent years that are either moving away or they are no longer in resonance with who I am. And so I feel like there is this drifting apart. I've also been a witness to many broken relationships, partnerships that are no longer working, also jobs that are no longer fulfilling for people. And people are making decisions to leave these jobs because they are no longer able to endure the resistance and the sense of inauthenticity that they may be feeling when they go to these jobs. And the message continues, much of what brought us comfort in the past is no longer working. And the image I'm being shown is that we are like castaways lost on a boat by ourselves at sea. Well, the land that we depended on for comfort is but a memory. We are set adrift in waters that are foreign to us, and there is a sense of intense discomfort which is leaving us feeling lost. There is no one around to save us. Many of us feel like we have lost our bearings, really not knowing where we are going. For many of us who had past lives in Atlantis, this is really, I think, triggering some past trauma of the grief and loss that we experienced after the cataclysm, after we saw our continent fall into the ocean and we escaped the cataclysm by leaving on boats to new lands and new colonies that would become our new homes. And as we looked back at the destruction and chaos that we left behind, we really felt a sense of not knowing where we were going. We didn't know what these new lands would be like. We lost everything that we knew and that we understood and that brought us. And here we stand once again at this great turning point, the falling away of one epoch and moving into a new one. And what I mean by epoch is essentially a new age. We could call it ascension. We could call it moving from 3D to 5. We could call it the shift of the ages. And my guides assured me that the truth is we were never lost, for a greater force is guiding us. a universal intelligence that is coursing through our being is moving us forward toward evolution. And this guiding force is not outside of ourselves. It lives within us as our internal navigation system that in every moment is steering us in the right direction, guiding us towards something that you have a distant memory of. We've been here before, and I feel like we're doing it over again. We are essentially pioneers headed to new lands. And this memory of we've been here before and we're headed to something new, this has been planted within us like a seed that is deep within our hearts. And that seed will one day grow into the fullest expression of our true essence. We are moving more and more into our divine essence as we are activating all the dormant aspects of our DNA that have kept us locked out of our divinity. We are being reminded that we need to start connecting back to that internal navigation system that is connected externally to our North Star. And the North Star is essentially the external manifestation of that. It is what is the outside point that we can use to guide us. And what is our North Star? Well, let's start by describing what it is not. It is definitely not a destination. It is not a place that we land that we say, oh, I'm going to land here and live happily ever after. We know that life is a journey, and it is simply more of a target that we are aiming for. Essentially, it is something that is lighting our path. The light from that North Star, just like it was used to guide the Magi to the Christ child, it is what is guiding us on our hero's journey. And often we may not exactly know where this path is ultimately taking us, and that's okay. Sometimes we don't fully know what our purpose is. I don't think we're always meant to know exactly what our purpose is. I think the key here is that we are moving towards something that is lining up with our navigation system that is essentially our truth meter. And really that is the heart. With every step that we are taking on this path that leads us closer to our essence, we can be assured that we are living our purpose. Anything that lights us up, anything that gives our heart joy, it's kind of like what Joseph Campbell said, it's about following your bliss. And it doesn't have to be those big decisions in life. It could be the small choices that we make on a day-to-day basis. Whether we are saying yes to an invitation to take a workshop or a class that is lighting us up, whether it be choosing something in a restaurant that our bodies are telling us that we could benefit from, or it could be even choosing to have a conversation that you've been afraid to have with someone and you can no longer take it, and you're choosing truth and you're choosing to do what is aligned to your highest outcome. Purpose is not a final destination that we end up at. It's truly about aligning our actions with our essence and our authentic self. And every time your heart lights up doing something that you love, whether you are living your purpose, and that essentially will take us to a greater mission or a greater purpose. It is kind of like the concept of following breadcrumbs that will lead you to something greater. And that could be a mission that you agreed to do in this life before you decided to come in. Perhaps you are here to help people in some bigger way, to guide people, or perhaps you are here to create something that will be part of this new reality that we're moving into. And I think many of us are getting visions and getting downloads right now and getting ideas of things that are inspiring us. I think that it is really a critical time right now to really be following that guidance and following those inspirations, because I think they are meant to be birthed. The only way we can head to this new world is by birthing the new. We are really creating it. And I feel like the land that we're, quote, headed to is not necessarily a land that is pre-existing and we're just going to land on it and just learn to live the way the people are living there. Honestly, I think we are creating it. We are birthing these new ideas and new ways of doing things, whether that be new technologies that will help us to have access to free energy or perhaps make our lives easier, or whether that be new educational systems that are teaching our children to be more aligned to their genius, their own superpowers, and we're capitalizing on their gifts. It's making way for people who are neurodivergent to really share their gifts and to shine their light in the world, because I feel like many of our neurodivergent populations really have these superpowers, but unfortunately, the old paradigm just sees the ways that they are different. But there are so many gifts that they are here to impart in the world. Also, new systems of government, new systems of healthcare, new systems of money, and how we exchange things and exchange energies in the world. And all of this is needing to be birthed. And we are all taking a part in that. We are each a thread in this greater tapestry of this land that we will be creating. It is really a critical time to allow these creations to come through us and to be able to ground them into our reality right now. And the only way we can do that is really to allow ourselves to be authentic and allow that Aquarian out of the box thinking energy to essentially activate us, because I feel like that energy is activating parts of ourselves right now. All these planetary energies right now are here to not only help activate certain aspects, but also to guide us and to create the energy that is conducive to moving into this new reality. And so now I was going to go ahead and tap into the Akashic Records to see if there's any other information that wants to come through. So I'm going to take a moment and do my process, and I will be back in a moment and we'll see what comes through. So as I was getting into the records, I was shown a vision of a heart, and I saw a crown that was sitting on top of the heart. It's kind of like that Celtic symbol of a heart with a crown on it. And so I'm hearing that our hearts are being crowned. And so I'm trying to understand what that means. So I'm hearing that this is a process where our hearts are being activated right now. We're moving from the solar plexus center to the heart chakra center, and it is really a coming online of our hearts. Our hearts being the part of our bodies that not only govern love, love of others, love of the self, but also what helps us align to our North Star and helps guide us in every decision that we make when we move forward. When we move into our hearts and start making decisions based on our hearts, we will never be led astray. Our hearts are what connect us to the divine. And I'm hearing especially the divine feminine. And they're saying that many of us have forgotten to use our hearts. We have pushed through with our minds and use our minds to make decisions. But we forget that the ultimate purpose of us being here is really to experience joy, to experience and have those moments where we are petting a kitten and our heart lights up, Or we have a moment where we are walking and we come across a beautiful flower and we're able to experience the essence and the smell and the beauty of that flower. It's those little moments that are so very important on our journey that give our lives so much depth and meaning. They really give our lives dimension. And so, for those of us who feel lost or feel disconnected from maybe their purpose, their authenticity, or perhaps feel like they don't really know where they're going or who they are, this is really a good place to start. It is a good place to take inventory of all the things that you love. And again, it could be something small. It could be baking those special cookies that you bake. It could be some type of hobby that you love. It could be an interest that you have, whether it be tarot or something non spiritual. It could be a subject that you're highly interested in. It's making time to do the things that bring your heart joy and light you up. When you are light up, you are raising your vibration. We think that raising our vibration is about spiritual discipline and things that we have to do. And while, yeah, these are aspects, things like meditation or reading spiritual books or trying to implement changes based on changing our belief systems or getting rid of negative belief systems. Yeah, those are all part of raising our vibration. But the piece that we often miss in spirituality is the piece that is about joy and love. And when you can create those feelings of love in your heart, when you are engaging with something that brings you joy, you are raising your vibration. And that is a pathway in and of itself. There are people out there who are not necessarily the most spiritual people, and we make assumptions. We think, oh, well, they're not consciously spiritual, so they're not of a high vibration or they're not going to ascend. But that is such a distortion because there are people out there who are loving what they're doing, who are loving their craft, loving their hobbies, and they are staying in such positivity and light. Ascension does not have to be just about doing hard work. It's about connecting to that higher aspect of who you are. And love is the highest expression of the divine. The divine is love. And when we can hold that love in our hearts, we are more connected to the divine and the divine aspects of ourselves. So this is very important as we are moving into times that are invoking fear in us right now, is to stay in that center of love. So now I'm asking if there's anything else. They're showing me a vision right now. If you're in a place right now where you're not driving, you're in a place that you can just take a moment to close your eyes, tune into your breath, perhaps lengthening your breath. And they want to bring your attention to your heart space. This is inviting the transmission and the energies to come into your heart. The energy feels very peaceful. I'm seeing the energy actually coming from the sun through the flares. And I want you just to set the intention of receiving this beautiful solar love energy. Perhaps you may want to open your hands with the intention of receiving. And just allow this energy to infiltrate your heart, receive it, allow it to transmute anything heavy or dark that lives there. And some sound frequencies would like to come through me right now. That is all. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you liked this episode and you are listening on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. If you have any comments or would like to share any personal insights or experiences that you had while listening, please share. Thank you so much for being with me, and I look forward to connecting with you all again soon. Have a good day. Bye.